Hello, YouTube. It's me, John Avenger, once again, and welcome back to Rotten Tomatoes month. And boy, do I have a stinker for you guys that got a 16% on Rotten Tomatoes. No, it's not Park or Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom. I refuse to watch that. It's a 1997 family film that came out that disappointed me. It came out when the show was like off the air and they had the new series, Turbo, and that's the 1997 disastrous movie Turbo, a Power Rangers movie. Fuck this movie. Fuck it right in the ass. I hated this movie ever since I saw it back in 1997 when I was 12 years old watching it on VHS. I hated every frame of the movie. It's boring. It's uneventful. It's a step way down compared to the first movie, and it just got even worse. And like the 2017 movie, it has the same problem. The Rangers are barely in the freaking movie. And let me just say the three main problems that I had with the film, going in. One, half of the cast is missing. You don't have freaking Billy or freaking Tommy, or I think Tommy's in it, but he's not in it that much. Aisha's missing. Freaking who else is missing? Uh, the other ones are missing as well. I said no. Adam is here. The only ones that came back is Adam, Rocky, who I didn't give a shit about anyway, and Adam, Rocky, and Tommy. That's it. Kimberly, I'll get to that. Instead, you replace them with another black girl instead of Aisha. It's like Tanya, and I don't care about her. She's some nothing actress that I never heard of. You have Catherine, who was a little the new Pink Ranger that turned into a cat, and then she took Kimberly's place, and played by Catherine Sutherland or something like that. Yeah, she's a horrible Australian actress. No, she's horrible. And then in the Blue Ranger is played by a kid in this freaking movie. Not Rocky was originally the Blue Ranger because I know there's the Turbo version, which is a show I never watched, so I don't care who the Rangers were. And he gets injured in a karate tournament, so he has to be replaced by a 12-year-old boy, a freaking 12-year-old boy who has the freaking screen presence of Driftwood. He's this stupid little boy with a haircut that only his mother would love, and he when he becomes a Power Ranger, he gets bigger. He like grows like freaking another foot and a half, and it looks ridiculous. This is one of the stupidest freaking movies I've ever seen in my life. One of the worst sequels because it's the second Power Rangers movie, and it was a shitty film. They lost half of the budget from the first movie. That's problem number two. The film looks like shit. The costumes suck. The freaking Zords look like shit. They're cars for some reason. They're not dinosaurs anymore and prehistoric creatures. The creature effects are really really lame. Like that creature you see in the beginning of the film in the jungle, and Divatox, who's the new villain, because Zed and Rita are like in the background of this movie. They literally make a cameo. No Bulk and Skull are wasted in the freaking movie. And the third problem I have, you waste the talents of Austin St. John, the original Red Ranger that played Jason in the original series, at least in the first two seasons, and Amy Jo Johnson as Kimberly, the original Pink Ranger. You waste them, you capture them, and they become possessed, and then they do nothing. Fuck this movie and the director that made this movie. It bombed at the box office. I'm so glad it did. It came out. It was like number seven on the top 10 back in '97. It came out in the winter. That's why I never heard of it. I was like, it came out. It was just gone like that. It's like Thanos snapped his fingers and the movie was out of theaters the second weekend. It's a shitty film, guys. If you like this movie, fine. But I don't know a single soul who does. This is one of the worst movies I've ever seen in my life. It's an insult to Power Rangers. I think it's worse than the 2017 movie. At least that had a budget. As much as it was dark to see and it was freaking boring, it had a budget and it had a good Billy playing the Blue Ranger. Here, you don't see them become Power Rangers just like in the 2017 movie until halfway through the freaking movie. It's just them walking around in the freaking jungle with that creature, doing stupid shit, talking. There's a scene where Catherine is on the freaking bus with a bunch of kids singing, and I'm like, I hate her Aussie accent. It gets on my nerves. I've told all the people on YouTube that I am not a fan of foreign chicks from down under or from freaking New Zealand or mostly, or and of course not from the UK because you know what they do to my stomach. It's just that they have an accent and it takes me out of the experience. That's what I didn't like in Deadpool 2. I didn't like that fat kid that was with the fire powers. His accent got on my nerves. I'm like, first he sounded British. I'm like, no, wait a minute, this is not British. And they say, oh, he's from New Zealand. So he's like, he talks like, I'm not your friend. And I'm like, what the hell are you saying? Friend? Friend, not friend. I mean, Peter Jackson doesn't bother me because he's a good director, but an accent can, I don't know what the fuck they're saying, and it bothers me in this movie. You took out Amy Jo Johnson, one of the greatest actresses on television, for a freaking Aussie chick that can't act. Yeah, they pretty much did that a lot during the series. They replaced them with a bunch of actresses that can't act from other countries. But anyway, the film's plot is nonsensical. Divatox is going to create this giant, this waking up this demon to sacrifice the Rangers so that they can bring Malagor, this giant creature who looks cool, but the end fight with him and the Rangers is freaking lame. It lasts 5 seconds. It's so freaking anticlimactic. The Rangers get the sword, and instead of an epic battle for like 2 or 3 minutes or 5 minutes, they slice him once and he falls off the cliff like a freaking bitch. Way to go to freaking ruin your freaking Malagor. You may give him all this hype and build up for the movie, and then he dies like a bitch. And yes, I know that these designs were from the original Super Sentai. I'm not going to say that the designs of the suits are bad. It's just I'm not used to them. And the fact that the kid becomes a new Blue Ranger, he gets bigger, and then his voice is the same as when he was 12. I'm like, this doesn't make any freaking sense. The Rangers are just not in the freaking movie, and I don't like the cars. You're not Voltron. Voltron has cars. The Transformers have cars. I think GoBots also has cars. I don't want to see cars. Kamen Rider also has a car as well, but here it just looks ridiculous. Like the freaking Megazord looks lame in this version, and I just don't care about the characters in this movie. Alpha's in the movie, and the command center looks like shit. Zordon looks like it looks like a bad TV movie. That's what this movie should have been on TV, because at least then it would have the shortcomings would have been more obvious, and it would not have been in theaters. This should never been in theaters. This easily could have been direct to video or on TV. The Sharknado movies look like they have a bigger budget than this. The CGI looks terrible when they use it. The freaking they barely had budget for CGI, and even the suit work it just looks clunky and it's just not epic at all. They don't have even the theme song, the score, everything is forgettable in this freaking movie. A 16%, yeah, it's boring. It's only 83 minutes long. It's not very long, but it's so bad, man. The Nostalgia Critic did a rant on this movie, and he said that Power Rangers is meant for some people and not for me. But he even said that he did a song where they're on a sailboat, and he's like, and he's like, yo ho, no Power Rangers for me. And I'm like, yeah, exactly. They're not in the freaking movie. Even Geekvolution, they did a freaking podcast, an audio commentary on this movie, and they said you can morph anytime now, guys. You can do it. Just take out your freaking power coin or your morpher and say it's morphin time. I want to hear that again, guys. I didn't hear it in that freaking 2017 movie. It cheated me from that. The first movie had it, and it was damn proud of it. They showed the freaking morphers right in your face. That's what I live for. That first movie was awesome. It knew what the show was, and it went for it. I know this is based on the Turbo series. I didn't watch the Turbo series. This movie was not a good candidate ambassador for that shitty show. I never watched any of the show after this. I didn't see Turbo or Zeo or Alien Rangers or whatever, or freaking in space. I saw some of it. It had its moments, but this is just shit. There's no excuse for this. Divatox is a lame villain. She's over the top. I think she's played by a porn actress. Yeah, that's the kind of acting you're gonna get. Freaking a porn actress. And the creatures that are with her, there's a guy that looks like a freaking Christmas ornament, and there's some other creatures. Like it's lame. This movie's so lame. I think Filmmaster Adam did an epic rant on this movie a long time ago. I saw it and I'm like, this movie is shit. And it has that same problem that the Star Wars spin-offs have. A story. We know what story it is, Hollywood. We're not stupid. Stop calling this a Power Ranger story. This is the same bullshit that we got with Rogue One and with freaking Brolo. I know it's a story, okay? I'm not stupid. And it's not a Power Ranger story because it's a lie. Why didn't they just call it the movie, the Turbo Power Rangers movie? Simple. You're still lying to the audience, but at least it's not a story. I'm getting sick of that. Stop saying a story if it's not their story. It's not. It's Turbo, a Power Ranger story, and the Power Rangers are at the very end of the movie. So where's your freaking story? There is no story. It's just a bunch of stupid shit happens. The scene that Jason and Kimberly get captured and they get possessed, their eyes turn red. They look like they're like Bella from Twilight at the end of Breaking Dawn part. No, at the beginning of Breaking Dawn part 2. It's not hot. Amy Jo Johnson, she tried. Amy Austin St. John, he tried, but they couldn't save this freaking cameo. It feels completely forced, and they don't even know half of them. They only know about a third of the Rangers. They know Tommy from the original series, and they know Kimberly knows Adam and Rocky, and that's about it. She doesn't know Tanya or Catherine or freaking what did that stupid 12-year-old boy. I'm like, that kid was the stupidest thing ever. If you thought Jar Jar Binks was forced, take a look at this shit. This is way worse. This is a 12-year-old boy who grows to be a Blue Ranger, and he still has a little kid's voice. What? It's uneventful. They fight Malagor at the end, 5 second fight, one swipe, and he's dead. Uneventful, man. I hate this freaking movie. It just pisses me off. It's one of the worst freaking sequels I've ever seen. And it is a sequel because it has some of the same characters coming back. It is the Batman and Robin of Power Ranger movies. It's still the worst. I hated the movie from last year, but at least it had a good Billy that was done that did his own thing, and he was really good in the movie. And it had a few moments that didn't suck, but this is way freaking worse. No Rangers for almost an hour. Freaking lame ass, stupid ass plot points that don't lead up to anything. Half of the cast is missing from the last movie. It's the freaking. I don't care about the Zords being cars now. That's a stupid idea. Well, what were you expecting for Turbo? More dinosaurs? No, something different. Not freaking cars. You're just ripping off Transformers. They start as cars and then they become robots. Here, it's like, oh yeah, we're gonna turn the Zords into freaking race cars. Lame. Or motorcycles. I don't give a shit. It's just it. This movie's horrible. If you have not seen this movie, please don't. Don't. If you're a Power Rangers fan, skip this entirely. To see the first movie, see the original show, see the Japanese Super Sentai, those are good. Those at least have freaking competence. They have competent writers and directors and actors. Here you got a freaking porn star actress. You got freaking an Aussie chick from Australia that can't eat out of her life, and you got freaking a 12-year-old boy that can't act either. But that kid deserves to be bitch slapped in the face. I hated him in Casper Meets Wendy too because he just has one of those faces that just, and he's not British or anything. It's just I don't like him. He's not likable. He's a douchebag. He's just an annoying little shit character. One of the worst kid actors I've seen in recent memory. He's worse than the kids from Jurassic World 1. Oh my god. Just so annoying. And then Rocky, I didn't care about him in the last movie. Steve Cardenas is not a good actor. I didn't like him in the first Power Rangers movie. I didn't like him in the series. So him getting injured, hey, it didn't mean I was like I don't give a fuck because he sucked in the first movie. So his acting just was not going to help this, and him being replaced by a kid is even more embarrassing. But yeah, this movie sucks. It's one of the worst films I've ever seen. Not just one of the worst sequels or follow-ups, so one of my favorite guilty pleasures, but it's an insult to this franchise. Thank God that this movie bombed. Thank God we didn't get a Zeo movie or In Space or freaking Ninja Steel or whatever the fuck. They've been too many franchise, just too many. I haven't watched Power Rangers since 1997, and the movie last year didn't do me any favors either. Because I'm like, do something fun with this franchise again. Don't be ashamed to be campy and corny and fun, and have humor that works. I don't remember a single joke in this movie that made me laugh. What made me smile was just a couple of the references to the original show, like Zed and Rita being in bed together, and they're together, and her voice, make my monster grow. I like that woman's voice, and no Ivan Ooze because he died in the first movie, and Amy Jo Johnson and Austin St. John. That's it. Everything else in the movie is ass on a stick. And if you've ever watched this movie, I feel so sorry for you because it gets a low rating on IMDb for a reason. I think it gets like a 2.9 or something, or a 3.9. It's shit. It is an insult to Power Rangers. It was at the bargain bin in my local Best Buy, and I'm like, no, fuck you, movie. You ruined my 12 year of life in 1997. You're you're a crime against humanity. You're one of the worst things I've ever seen, and I've seen the Star Wars rehash trilogy. Well, these freaking spin-offs or whatever. I've seen two of them, two out of three, or four, or whatever. Half of them. I've seen half of them, and this is way more painful. The girl that plays Catherine is a shit actress, but she hasn't really done anything after this, and there's a reason why. That accent just kills me. It just freaking kills me. But anyway, guys, don't watch this movie. Tevye, if you've seen this movie, I'm sorry, man, but it hurts. This is worse than Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom because that has a budget. It's lame, but it has a budget. This does not. It looks like a freaking 99 cents version of the Power Rangers movie from 1995. And like I said, that movie's flawed, but it's fun. I can watch it anytime. This is a shit show. The soundtrack is no good. The freaking cast sucks. That is there. Just most of the new cast from Turbo sucked, and the freaking the cars are lame. The freaking villain sucks. It's uneventful, and they don't morph until halfway through the movie. Don't lie to your audience. At least when they didn't have their Zords in the first movie, there was a reason for it. It's not that they were afraid to morph. They still fought even when they didn't have the freaking Power Ranger suits, and also they had ninja outfits, which are badass. This falls on its face. And hell, in that movie, when they become the Power Rangers again, I felt something like, awesome, they're gonna fight again. And that third act of that movie is badass. I will always defend that third act of the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers movie from '95. It made me feel like I was watching the show again, and it was fun. And Tommy kicked ass, and the freaking Kimberly kicked ass, and Billy and freaking Adam and Aisha. Rocky, he had one or two moments that weren't horrible, but this is just inexcusable. Fuck this movie in the face. It's one of the worst things ever to grace cinemas. Man, I don't know why they make sequels like this, or even any freaking follow ups like this. It's not just a step down; it's a freaking hole in the ground, and they fell into it. But anyway, guys, thanks for watching. I wanted to do another rant because one more before July. I hate this movie. It's one of my top, at least my bottom 20 of the worst films I've ever seen in my life. That's because I'm such a fan of the show, of the original show and the first movie, and this is an insult. It's a two middle fingers in my face, just like the last failure. Yeah, you take something we love and you freaking bastardize it. Just like the last year's movie, it didn't help either. Stop making these freaking rehashed, boring, ugly, freaking cheap ass movies. Anyway, I'll see you guys in the next video. Take care.